Hello, everyone, and welcome into episode 52 of the Stomp the Bus Show. And Ray Anderson needs to be fired or he needs to resign because ASU implemented a bowl ban on itself for this upcoming season. And they announced it on Sunday morning, right before anyone knew, less than a week away from the game. And I don't know, I'm just sharing. I mean, look, this is Monday night, Monday afternoon, 4:35. Nothing's really changed. It's didn't want to record yesterday because I was just upset, but it's just like ASU is the worst athletics leadership in major college football. I haven't looked through every single school, but I mean, just the amount of dumb moves made by Ray Anderson and by extension, Michael Crow. It just baffles the mind. It baffles the mind how we can get to this point. Um, how Ray is still employed. I mean, you listen to national podcasts, everyone is like, why is this guy still have an AD job? It doesn't make sense. That's the thing. Like, there's been the whole the aftermath of last season. He didn't leave then. He didn't leave in 2021. The only reason Herm was let go, had to do with nothing with the investigation. It was because he lost to Eastern Michigan. That's why. And of course, by not firing him for cause, they then owe him $4.4 million that they could have used to potentially get their way out of this, like Tennessee did. I was happy when Tennessee announced, the punishment came down for their misdeeds or whatever it is, and they avoided a bowl ban. No, not ASU. ASU, we have to implement our own bowl ban that we could have done last year, by the way, that we should have done in 2022 when the team was much worse, instead of wait till announce it on 7 a.m. September or August 27th. It's callous. And it totally screws over the seniors, especially the senior transfers that came in. Totally screws them over. Completely 100% screws them over because by announcing it at the very last minute, screws over the coaches who, look, they didn't know at all about this. They didn't know that it was coming. It was clear. I mean, you listen to any of Dillingham's remarks yesterday, the remarks from the players yesterday. Clearly, it was a new development. And nope, just yeah, we got to announce it now, and we have to do it now. And why now? Why couldn't it have been done last year? Well, it's probably because you wanted to protect Herm Edwards' reputation because he was your buddy who should have never been hired to begin with. It was a what was it going to call? I was going to say bone scratching. That's not the right word. Head scratching decision when he was hired. I remember being there at that press conference, and it was just a lot of like, you'll see when this works out. And here we are 5 years later, hasn't worked out at all. Just sucks. It just sucks because yeah, ASU wasn't going to be like going to the Rose Bowl or something this year. I'm not blind to that, but they just completely institute a bowl ban right before the season. That's going to affect some players. Look, we've gotten the company line of, oh, we get to ruin other people's seasons and all this. And it's just like, okay, that's great. Like, but when this team needs to start off hot, like that's my thing. Like, if they don't start off hot, then there literally is no point to continue. Like, yes, there's the point of competition and just showing up on a Saturday and all that, but like there's no actual like reward. It's just you get to win a game, and that's a lot for some players to be motivated, but other players need more motivation. And so I don't know what it means for this season. I was thinking about changing my 6-6 prediction, but I think I'm just going to stick with it. I maybe the way in which ASU gets there is a little different, but I'm not going to change it, even though I could see it being worse than that now, especially just because that just has to mess with your mindset if you're a player. You think that you have a chance to, have a really good season and go to a bowl game. And again, like I get that probably they go to the Sun Bowl or what, the Las Vegas Bowl or whatever weird bowl. And that's not the ultimate goal, but for this season, for a new coaching staff like that, that type of thing matters. And just to have it just totally taken away sucks. But really, like, again, not going to the bowl game isn't that big of a deal. It's the fact that Ray Anderson is still here. He is still the athletic director. It's been like 8 years. There's been really no like high level success in any sport other than like women's triathlon and men's golf at times. And you got to do more that, like, you can't just have football. You just wasted years. You just wasted like 5 years by hiring Herm Edwards when nobody else would have hired him. Nobody. And it's all just because you wanted to look smart. That's the thing that annoys me so much about it. Like, this is all about you trying to look smart, being Ray Anderson. And you've taken none of the accountability for this, none at all. Instead, it's the new coaching staff who is not here. I mean, Kenny Dillingham was in FSU when all this happened. He wasn't even in Oregon. So you have that, and the players have to answer for it. Michael Crow or Anderson, no answers. Oh, we have to be, it's a confidentiality investigation. Just a bunch of bullshit. I'm upset. I'm really upset at this. I think it's just that at this point, as a fan, as an ASU fan, you're just playing the waiting game until these guys are gone, because they will screw something up somehow. They, like, just by being there. I mean, I know that Dillingham says that he's like a Sun Devil and loves all this, but like, how could this not poison the well if you're Dillingham? How could it not? I mean, if you're Dillingham, deep down, you know he wants Ray gone. You know he wants a new athletic director. You know it. And no, he's just sticking around so far. I mean, maybe there will be public pressure. I don't know. Boosters, please step in. Done it before with the Todd Graham hiring. Please use your wealth to help out the community. It actually would be helping out the community, like, in an indirect way. But I mean, this guy said on radio in February of 22, shortly after the 2021 season, we're not going to be into NIL. We're not going to do that. And all the best players on the team transferred for the most part. It's just like, what? Like, I understand that Ray Anderson is a smart guy. He's smarter than I'll ever be, more successful than I'll ever be, most likely. Okay. Like, and all the stuff he's done, really, up until he got this athletic director job, let's be honest. Up until that, like with being an agent for black coaches in the NFL 20 years ago, when it was even more rigged against them, or equally as rigged against them, I don't know. But like, that's like genuinely good work that he's done in his life. But strictly when it comes to being the athletic director at ASU, he's been absolutely awful. Awful. And he's being paid $1 million per year. He's the second highest paid AD in the country. Does not have the second best results as an athletic director in the country. And by the way, it's not even just the men's basketball and football that are struggling. It's all the other sports are worse too. Women's basketball just had a terrible season. Volleyball hasn't been good under his watch. So, like, it's not even just baseball. Again, he kept Tracy Smith on for way too long. And, ASU's kind of still climbing out of that. So it's just, there's no, like, the only positive thing is that, the athletics, they get good grades. And so Michael Crow can talk about that. That's the only thing. And obviously Michael Crow, like, we've talked about him before, of like just having just an enormous black eye blind side, good Lord, black eye, blind spot when it comes to sports. And Ray Anderson being employed for this long is just proof that, like, he either just doesn't get it or like wants to actively screw over the fan base. because it feels like that can only be one of these two. Like he can't. There's no way to seriously think like, oh, this is going well. I'm going to keep Ray Anderson as the school president. There's no way to really like square that circle. And so now, we go into a season with, I'm not going to say no hope, but less hope. I mean, there's no other way to put it. Like, if you're an ASU fan, like, it's just another kick in the balls. That's what I was thinking yesterday. It's just being an ASU fan. It just feels like you're getting kicked in the balls all the time, all the time. And it doesn't have to be that way. I know people are like, oh, same old ASU. There's always ASU, but it's like, okay, well, who's been in charge of ASU during that time period? Who's actually the ones making the decisions? It's been Michael Crow and Ray Anderson on the athletic side for the last 8 years, I'd say. So, it's just bad management. Like everyone can see it. This isn't a, missed fourth down decision by a coach or a missed shot at the buzzer. I would so much rather like be talking about those types of athletic bad results than hiring your former client as a college head coach in 2017 when he hadn't been coaching at all in like 8 or 9 years, hadn't coached college since 1989, and he's supposed to be the head coach. Oh, and by the way, when you hire him as a head coach, you want make yourself look super smart because we're instituting the new leadership model. This is how it's going to be at ASU. Here, we're going to reinvent the wheel when it comes to football instead of just trying to do the obvious things that other schools do. Other schools just like do the obvious things that it takes to win, and then you just build on top of it, But no, we have to figure it out the innovative way, right? We can't just do things normally. We have to be innovative about it. Tell everyone how innovative we are, and then nothing happens because it was a stupid idea, and it's made even dumber by the fact that he is still the athletic director. And this isn't even going into like, all the stuff with Bobby Hurley and him. Obviously, there's the Ray keeping around Bart Ware, the booster who like groped Bobby Hurley's wife, and those two, and this all came out like 4 years ago. Ray Anderson hasn't faced any punishment for that at all, and so I mean the Arizona Board of Regents, they need to do something. I know I saw a local politician on Twitter say they'll look into it. I mean, like something has to be done because you are wasting taxpayers' money. That's the other thing. Like this isn't. I'm kind of glad ASU isn't a private school in this sense because they could really just keep everything under wraps. But he's a public employee of the state of Arizona, and he's just doing a terrible job. And it's not like he's doing a great job in all these other aspects, like creating a good work culture and all, like if you're keeping around a booster who like sexually molested someone, and because of that, you don't even speak with your basketball coach in person. Like, what are we doing? Why has it even gotten to this point? Why has it even gotten here? And, with football, it's just, yeah, we're going to announce just right before the season, just right as everyone hopes are up. And, oh yeah. And by the way, all the players who are on the team can't leave. And, if you bought season tickets, you can't cancel those. So whoops, had to do it sometime. Just a joke, man. I mean, how can you as an AD like feel like swallow the fact that like you have an adversarial relationship with the fan base of the team that you run? How does that happen? How does that happen? How can it get this bad? And how do you make so many bad decisions and you don't correct them at the right time? And so now it has to be done now. It has to be done now because we couldn't do it last year because that would screw up Herm's image. Well, apparently it doesn't matter because Herm's about to have a freaking job on ESPN talking college football, which blows my mind that they would do that. Like, I just don't understand why Herm Edwards gets to be the one leading the charge on college football on ESPN. That's just, or leading the charge isn't wrong, but gets to have a show. I mean, have him talk about the NFL. That's not hard, but just like, what is going on? Like, I just don't understand like how this has all happened and Michael Crow is just, oh yeah, we're good with keeping Ray. It's just so stupid. It's so stupid. I saw someone bring this up on Twitter and like, it's right. Like, I don't remember who it was. It might have just been some small account, but it's basically to the point of Michael Crow is underestimating how just his athletics leadership or lack thereof is going to affect his overall legacy. Because if you're Michael Crow, you're thinking, oh, I transformed ASU, which he did. And so like all these things about like ASU academically, like growing as a school, all of that stuff, like that is very valid. But you also, you've had like you basically just have told your fan base to F off for the past 20 years and even more so in the past 4 years or so with Ray Anderson. It's just like, there's someone else out there who could do a better job than Ray Anderson at this. That's my thing. You could have instituted the bull ban last year when the team was worse. You could have not instituted the bull ban at all and tried to fight it more like Tennessee did. So there's two things. And so I don't know. I mean, I just don't know what it's going to take for him to finally leave. That's my thing. And it'll happen eventually. Like I always tell myself that like these people in power are going to leave eventually, but man, like, and they both of them screwed up our entrance into the Big 12 just by alienating the university, most likely by saying stupid comments right when they got in. Michael Crow, he's basically like the main reason the Pac-12 is gone. Not because of what he did, in the final hours trying to keep it together, but because of what he did by supporting Larry Scott for so long. I mean, it was in 2019. He was like, "Oh, they're gonna be surprised when they get caught by us." When we've passed them up, all those conferences say, "What did they do?" Well, here we are now, Mike. It's just really annoying. Like that the athletic leadership just has no, like, they don't care at all. That, like, they do not care. And I don't know, anyone in power, somebody, like, just something has to be done. Like, I get that Michael Crow isn't going to get forced out. Like, I understand that's not going to happen. But like, what has Ray Anderson done to deserve this job this long? That's my thing. Like, if you want to defend Michael Crow for hiring Ray Anderson, like, as an out of the box candidate for an AD, like, okay, I can like have that conversation. But at this point, there's no, like, I haven't seen a single ASU fan defending Ray. Again, national media, like, people are confused why he's still at ASU. And it's just so frustrating. And so I don't know. I think I'm going to end it before it's just going to be me repeating myself about how much administration is just a complete joke. And yeah, also, I'm going to leave a link to the Arizona Board of Regents contact us section. I recommend you writing in and letting them know how much Ray Anderson, Michael Crow, how much the program is screwed over. They screwed over the players. I mean, if I was a player, I would be irate if I was a player, man. And I know that, like, oh, you probably would make a ball game anyway. It's still, that's nothing to do with it, man. Like, it's just such bad leadership to announce it then. You could have announced it again. If you had announced it in June, like, I would have been upset. Like, I would have been upset at you if you announced it in June or whatever time it would have been that would have allowed players to transfer. But like, that's the ethical thing to do. If you're going to announce it at all, the ethical thing to do is not wait until there's 4 days until kickoff and be like, oh, by the way, we're instituting a postseason ban because I hired my old bot or my old client back in 2017. And, under his watch and my watch, by the way, we did ridiculously stupid recruiting violations during COVID. And you guys are going to get punished for it, actually. Not me, not me, the athletic director. I'm just going to hide in my ivory tower and not talk to anyone ever and still make $1 million a year somehow. But Kenny, you have to deal with it. You have to talk to the press, and Jalen Conyers, you have to talk to the press. You guys have to talk to it and deal with it, but not me. I can hide behind confidentiality in the investigation. That's what I can do. I mean, just this. It's just like, how could you not resign by now? That's the other thing. Like, you made a bad decision. You made a wrong decision when hiring Herm Edwards. You knew it at the time that it could have been a huge risk. He even said something along those lines at his opening press conference of hiring Herm, or maybe the one of where they dismissed Todd Graham. He said, oh, like, he made specific goals of where he wanted ASU to be. Again, we went 3-9 last year, and our best year under Herm Edwards was 8-4 in the most watered down Pac-12 I've ever seen in my life as a fan. And that's saying something because there were some bad years in there. But 2021, like, USC and Washington both were down. You didn't play Oregon. You played 5 winning teams all season, and you only beat one of them. You didn't practice for crowd noise at BYU. And so the one season, the 2021 season, where that could have been a year where it's like, oh, like, we had some things surrounding us, but we still had 10-2 because we had good players and all this. But no, you go 8-4, and here we are now 2 years later. The punishment gets denounced because you didn't want to screw over your friend last year, and you didn't want to fire him either, which hurt the school in terms of losing $4.5 million that they could have used for other stuff. So it's not even, there's nothing redeemable about his job, what he's doing as AD. There's no silver lining. Maybe unless you're an ASU hockey fan, I guess that would be it. But I don't even know how much credit to give him for that either. It's just such a disaster. And I'm just so glad we have Kenny. I'm so glad we have Bobby Hurley. Honestly, like, the coaches, whenever anyone's mad about ASU athletics, it's Ray Anderson, it's Michael Crow. Like, those two have done so much damage to the brand of ASU too. That's the other thing. Like, you've hurt the brand of ASU athletics by being in charge for this long. You're not good at it. Okay. I've been bad at jobs. You know what I haven't done when I've been bad at a job is stayed it for 8 years. Okay. Oh, I'm just so mad. It's just so bad. All right, I'm done ranting about it now. Again, I'd like to repeat myself that Arizona State has the worst athletics leadership in major college sports. I just at this point, I just don't know how there's any school that's worse. Like, maybe there's some, I'm sure there's other examples, but these two at the top are just really bad when it comes to sports. And one of them is the freaking athletic director, and I'm saying that about. So hopefully ASU, can still put a fun product on the field this year. I expect Dillingham to try to use his motivation, all this. Wish we didn't have to use his motivation at all, and I wish there was none of that, but here we are, and it's just a reminder that, I don't know. As an ASU fan, you're just counting down the days until whenever Ray Anderson leaves, gets fired, resigns, retires, whatever it is, we're counting down the days. So fun stuff. Hopefully Rashada plays well this season, and nobody. It's just better than what it could be. This is just terrible, and it's unnecessary. And it all just stemmed from some profoundly stupid decisions that people couldn't admit that they were wrong to until it's too late. All right. Please rate and review. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. And please send your comments and information to the Arizona Board of Regents about Ray Anderson, because they need to hear about it. All right. Thank you. And as always, go Devils.